Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whichever time zone you're joining from. Welcome to the 2019 Ascend National Convention and Career Fair informational webinar. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Robina Singh, and we will get to self-introductions in just a moment. But before we do that, we wanted to make sure that we share with you some important housekeeping information. As you all know, this webinar is powered by Zoom. So please be sure to plug in your device, whether it's a tablet, a cell phone, a laptop, or a desktop, just to make sure that you don't run out of power. Please be sure to close out any browsers or tabs you have open other than the Zoom application. And you can use the chat feature for any technical questions you may have, or if you need any support during the webinar. Last but not least, you can use the Q&A panel for any content-related comments or questions you may have during the webinar. We do plan to allocate about 5 to 10 minutes at the end of this session to take your questions, and we will do our best to respond to those. Last but not least, this webinar is recorded, and we will be able to make a copy of this available to you after today's session. I mentioned before, we will get to self-introductions in just a moment. So we do have a dynamic panel of speakers from Ascend lined up for you. We first wanted to start with Tariq Khan, who is our national board member, as well as the VP of National Student Affairs. Tariq, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Rabina, and truly appreciate you helping us with putting this webinar, and I want to welcome all the students who are with us. This shows your commitment and your approach in being a part of Ascend. My name is Tariq Khan. I'm National VP of Student Affairs, and I also sit on the board of Ascend. I have spent most of my career in corporate side, and for the last 9 years, I've been an entrepreneur, a company called Global Diversity Marketing. I'm also an adjunct professor at the Graduate School for Marketing and Leadership, and I'm glad to be here. Back to you, Rabina.
Thank you, Tariq. We also have joining Jenny Wei, who is our national board member and chair of the nominating committee, as well as the National Scholarship Committee. Jenny, I know you're able to hear us, but we seem to be having some technical difficulties in terms of hearing you. Can you just say hello to see if we can?
Hi, can you hear me?
Go. Yes, perfect.
Okay. Thank you, Robina, and welcome to the WebEx. This is Jenny Wei. I'm currently serve as the VP of Internal Affairs and also nominating committee chair. And I do have a day job, which is a managing director at PricewaterhouseCoopers. I feel very honored to be with you today. I am one of the founding members of Ascend. Back in 2006, a group of like-minded individuals got together, including our current president, Jeff Chen. We decided to form an organization. And the reason is we recognized that they were, not on Alpha, but there was no similar organizations for Penn Asian students and professionals. So Ascend was first named the National Asian American Society of Accountants, NASA, and then we felt that we wanted to be more inclusive and aligned with our vision, so we changed the name to Ascend. Our vision has always been to enhance the presence and influence of current and future Penn Asian business leaders and students, and serve as a collective voice for Penn Asian business communities. I'm very proud to say that as of today, we have 40 student chapters and 17 professional chapters. We are very proud of the accomplishments that we have accomplished today. So back to you, Robina.
Great, thank you, Jenny, and truly, thanks to you and Tariq for your commitment to the Pan Asian business, professional, and student communities. Before we continue, I also wanted to give Marie-Helene Kennedy Payne a chance to introduce herself. She's our National Coordinator for Scholarship and Awards for Ascend.
Thank you, Robina, and welcome everyone. Thank you for taking time out of your busy calendars to be with us today on this webinar. My name is Marie-Helene. I go by Marie-Helene, it's easier for everyone. And as Robina mentioned, my primary focus with Ascend is to coordinate our national scholarships and awards program as part of the national convention. I'm also a volunteer and a director on the board of the Financial Women's Association, where I chair membership. Just by way of background, the FWA is really an organization focusing on women in the financial sector. And what we do is provide leadership skills through networking, personal development opportunities, and technical skills enhancement. The funny thing, I don't know if it's funny, but it's just an interesting observation, is that I was connected to both Ascend and the FWA when I actually started my career in banking over 10 years ago. So very excited to still be here. And I'm very excited to meeting all of you in person this August at the National Convention. Thank you, Robina, and back to you.
Great, thank you so much. And just a little bit about myself. I'm a National Director of Event Programming and Membership at Ascend. I've been with the organization for a little over 6 years now. And I have to tell you, as Marie-Helene was sharing, being part of the Ascend organization is truly also an opportunity for us to develop as individuals. And we're really thankful to the organization for the opportunities it gives not only its members, but also its national headquarter team members. With that, we wanted to actually take a moment to give you an overview of what to talk about in terms of what to expect on today's webinar. Our goal is, as Jenny mentioned, is to share with you what the goal and sort of mission and objectives of Ascend are. And we've shared a little bit about that already with you. We also wanted to take a little bit of a deeper dive into our National Convention and Career Fair, which is around the corner in August. It is our marquee event of the year. We're expecting nearly 3,000 attendees over the course of 4 days to attend. And we're really excited to be sharing with all of you what you can expect in terms of programming, in terms of overall attendee experience, as well as our speakers. In addition to all of that, we want to make this experience an interactive one for you, and we will be asking about 4 questions to gauge your interest in terms of whether or not you're an Ascend member, whether or not you've attended previous Ascend convention, what your plan is for this convention, and few other things. So we will be engaging with you through those polling questions. And towards the end, as I mentioned before, we will allocate about 5 to 7 minutes so that we can answer any questions you may have or any comments you may want to share. With that, Tariq, I think it would be great if you're able to, as Jenny did, able to share your passion and really aspiration and vision for the organization and your involvement. And from there, we'll tee up the Ascend Highlights video.
Thank you, Rabina. And once again, this is Tariq. I wish, and I can probably give anything in my life to be at the age of a student because there's so much learning that comes through. The question that you should be asking, that why should you be a part of an organization like Ascend? It is very important as you are entering the competitive marketplace that you package and position yourself someone who's really a well-versed student and a talent. What Ascend provides is a life cycle organization. So right out of your college or during your college days, you are able to connect with some industry leaders, some professionals that you may have to wait 6 months to connect with. And when you connect with them at our conference, you connect with them at a favorable basis. The founding board members like Jenny and Jeff, when they started this organization, the purpose of this organization was very simple. Most of us did not have the opportunity when we were in college to have a platform that will really offer us the opportunity to connect with the people that we wanted to connect with. So Ascend is an organization, whether you are a student or you are a young talent, or you are a middle manager or a senior executive. So we are a complete life cycle organization that offers the opportunity for you to be growing up in your career and getting the mentorship and professional development that you need.
Great. Thanks for sharing your insights, Tariq, and we know that how passionate you are to help the next generation of Pan-Asian leaders. And with that sort of spirit and commitment to the cause, we wanted to share with all of you this sort of an overview video about Ascend and all the great things that the organization is doing. So please take a moment to listen.
So the last couple of days at the Ascend Pinnacle Conference have been absolutely incredible. We started yesterday with a few of us coming out who are experienced board members to actually help aspiring board leaders get on that track.
The reason we call the report Hidden in Plain Sight is it was very obvious that there are a lot of Asians at these companies, but if you go up into the executive levels, you don't see Asians. And that's why we say it's hidden in plain sight.
The Elevate program is a great program for any millennial just wanting to get a baseline in regards to where they want to go. We're able to truly open up and almost get a response that you would get from a colleague or a friend.
That is a powerful video. I have to tell you, I've seen this many times and it still gives me goosebumps. Tariq, Jenny, do you have any additional insights to share based on what we've been talking about so far before we get into sort of the convention overview?
No, a powerful video. I agree.
All right, thanks. As we mentioned before, Jenny, go ahead.
No, I was going to add to it that, I stay very close with our student members, and, many of them have shared with me who attended the convention have shared with me that it was a eye-opening experience to them. So, strongly encourage participants on this call to take advantage of that and join us. So back to you.
Thanks. And Jenny, later on when we talk about the scholarships, we'll also be sharing some testimonials from past Ascend scholars who have some wonderful things to say about what a valuable platform Ascend has been for them. We've been talking about Ascend being a membership-based organization, and we wanted to take a moment here to gauge from all the participants whether you're an existing Ascend member or not. And if you don't happen to be currently an active member of Ascend, we will surely be in touch with you post-webinar to give you more information around what the value of being an Ascend member is and how to sign up. So please take a moment to answer this question for us, whether or not you're an existing Ascend member. All right, this is great. So we had around 24 people who said that they're an existing Ascend member. We have about 10%, around 3 people who said they're not, but are interested in becoming a member, and around 3 people who have said that they're not an existing member currently. So this is very encouraging to see. We love seeing engagement for our members, and we're so glad that you're able to join us today. We will continue the conversation. Tariq, back to you. I know how keen you are in terms of helping students, early career professionals, and professionals in general to help them develop their soft skills and also leverage the Ascend's networking platform. So would you like to sort of share your insights on those two topics?
Sure. Thank you, Rubina. And I quickly want to comment on the poll that you got, the 24 people who are members. So we want to make sure that we do everything to retain them as members and they get a value for being a member. The 3 who are not members, they're interested. Well, hopefully this webinar will help you become a member. And 3 of you who are undecided, you are the focus of our webinar today. We want to make sure that everybody does become a member. So today I want to spend next 3 to 4 minutes on talking about the importance of communication. And Jenny and I have been in corporate life and professional life for many years. And between the 2 of us, we probably hired more than 1,000 people. And I can confidently tell you that the best candidate doesn't always get the job. The person who is packaged the best has a greater opportunity of getting a job or a promotion. So from our perspective and our insights, what do we see when we meet the younger students who are graduating? As you know, that we interact a lot with the students, and especially with my teaching position, I see them quite often. And the advice that I tell them is the soft skill advice. So the talent that we are seeing today, the students who are graduating from school are far more talented than I was when I graduated. The only area of improvement that I would recommend to many young people who are just graduating from college is to focus on their soft skills. And I want to just quickly talk about 5 key factors on your soft skill. One is communication. Communication has always been very important, but the rules of communication have changed in the recent past. And your communication skills may be great from your perspective, but what is important for you is what are the required communication from the people that you're interacting. So if Jenny is hiring you, you have to understand what is her preferred mode of communication. I see a lot of people come for interview. They're very talented, very smart, but when they go back, they try to either text me thank you or they don't send me an email. It is important that you keep your communication dialogues open, and dropping a note, a personal note, not a cut and paste version, a personal note of every person that you meet. And it doesn't necessarily have to be for a job interview, but keep your communications very, very open, transparent, and be respectful of the person. Also, the timing of communication. I know some of you are night owls and burning midnight oil late, but don't send emails at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. People get annoyed. So always send early part of the morning or late afternoon. That's when people look at their emails more, and not on the weekends as well. So communication is very important. Second thing that people are looking for, people of my generation, Gen X or baby boomers who are looking to hire, we're looking a sense of responsibility. You're all very responsible. I'm not saying that you're not, but how do you position yourself? Because when we are hiring a person, we want to know that this person is going to be someone, once I give him or her an assignment, it will be done. So always acknowledge whenever someone communicates to you, a short reply, thank you, I got it. Let me know what are the next steps. Always acknowledge people. It is very, very important. That shows your sense of responsibility. Never overpromise. Always, always over-deliver and manage the expectation properly. Never say something that you can't deliver. But once you commit to something, ensure that you always land on your feet. And I'm going to quickly go through self-awareness. Those of you who are marketing students, you must have done learn about SWOT analysis. Find out what your strengths, weaknesses are, and those are manageable by you. So make sure that you know what your strength is, and always identify your weakness and try to work on that. Time management is key. Whenever you're communicating with anyone, people are most impressed if they find out that you're very punctual. Whenever you're supposed to meet someone or call someone, if you're meeting someone, make sure that you're there 15 minutes before your time. If you arrive there 14 minutes, you're 1 minute late. These are small, simple things. And last one that I would say is know what you have done. Your accomplishments are very important. How do you position your value in front of someone? Please make sure that you understand the people that you're communicating with. do research on them, and it's very, very important. I think you're talent-wise, you have a lot more talent than I had when I graduated and people at my time. But I think if you just focus on your soft skills, the opportunities are limitless. So back to you, Rubina.
Thank you, Tariq, for sharing that. And I did want to say one thing, that a lot of the things that Tariq has shared, some of them can be measured perhaps, but some of them are sort of nonverbal cues that all of us have in the way we interact and communicate with each other. So it's really important to be aware of how you're being perceived and projected. And one more thing I wanted to add is that in today's sort of participant base today, people who are listening to this webinar, we have a mix of students, early career professionals, as well as I believe some mid-level professionals as well. And our goal here is to really share value proposition around Ascen's value proposition for students and young professionals, with the awareness that some of the folks who are listening in might be managing some of these early career professionals. So these tips and information that we're sharing is really applicable to all of the attendees who are listening in today. Jenny, did you have any insights on what Tariq has shared, or perhaps leveraging Ascend as a networking platform to grow your network of mentors and coaches?
So I also wanted to, before we transition to the next topic, I wanted to emphasize the importance of the soft skill. We interviewed, we receive thousands of resumes every year. What we're looking for from the candidate is someone with a strong communication skills, both written and verbal, right? So when we, it's tough, and also leadership skills, right? So when we look at the resumes, it's, for us to identify and for students to distinguish themselves, it's those two communications and leadership skills. I think Ascend had able to provide both opportunities to enhance your communication as well as leadership skill. If you, serve on the student chapter, sit on the service officer, and sit on the board, you will have the opportunity to continue to hone on your communication and leadership skills. The experience, I do want to share an experience I gained from, getting involved in Ascend was invaluable. Has made me, I joined back in 2006, and, back then that was my third year, professional career, and, has made me a very different person since. I have bonded with many members and have expanded my network. Many of the Ascend members become great friends, mentees, and mentors. And these relationships, and with enhanced confidence and improved interpersonal skills, translate into my ability to go and excel. So, it also provides opportunity for me to give back and mentor, young professionals. And I'm very excited about that. And also, helping PwC to recruit top talents. And, so that is my experience. And back to you, Robina.
Thank you, Jenny. All of this is quite inspirational, and it really goes back to the earlier point we raised, which is all of us who are part of the Ascend organization and are running different initiatives, we also grow as individuals with the organization. This brings us to the next question. Before we go into sharing with you an overview of the convention and the career fair, we wanted to get a sense of if the attendees listening in today and watching, have you all attended the Ascend convention and career fair in the past? So please take a moment to answer this question that will be projected on your screen in just a moment. Jenny, Marie Helene, Tariq, this is quite good. We have a few attendees today of this webinar who have been to our past conventions, so that's always good to see. But what I'm really interested in, that around 70% who responded, they have not attended an Ascend event in the past, and which means, Tariq, to your earlier point, this webinar is really designed for you. We want to convince you by sharing the value proposition why you should be there. Any thoughts or comments on the results here?
Yeah, this is a very encouraging encouraging in the sense that I see the opportunity of 70% of 50 plus people who may be on the call have not attended. There is an opportunity, and we are in a continuous improvement mode. And I want to tell you that hopefully you will have two types of period in your life. One is before attending the Ascend Convention and after attending the Ascend Convention. You got to go there with a mindset that this is really going to be one of the best professional investment that I could make in being a part of an organization. As Jenny said, that it really helped her, walk through and navigate through her career in a professional way. So I encourage all of you to come to attend this convention, because the opportunities that you will get there are limitless.
Jenny, any additional thoughts?
I like I stated earlier, many of our attendees in the past have, share with us that how, experience that I have, the people that I have met that, a lot of attendees actually landed jobs, at the convention, because we do have the job fair, and many of the companies, including PwC, we do interview candidates on site. So it's definitely a great opportunity for you to meet organizations that you're interested in, and also expand your network. Also to meet someone that like yourself, and also the professionals that that perhaps will be your mentors, going forward.
Thanks for sharing those insights. We're getting some questions from the audience, and we will get to those towards the end of the webinar. So this is great to see all the engagement. We're excited about this. Now we're going to spend the next about 3 to 4 minutes sharing with you overview of the convention and the career fair. So when is it taking place? August 24th through the 26th of this year. August 23rd being our pre-convention day, and that is really the day when we welcome all of our students and early career professionals, and on August 23rd is when we have sort of half-day programming for that demographics. You can always visit our website, ascendleadership.org, to learn more about a detailed sort of overview of the agenda. Where is it taking place? It's taking place in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. at the Washington Hilton Hotel, and we're very excited to share with all of you that, as is the case with all of our convention, that this convention is being hosted by one of our chapters, which is the Ascend Greater Washington chapter. So those of you who are joining the webinar today who are from the GWA area, and you're interested in being part of our local chapters, whether student or professional chapter in the region, please let us know, and we will be glad to put you in touch with the chapter leaders there. Each year we have a theme for the convention, and this year the theme is Endless Possibilities. And our goal really is to tailor each day's programming to that theme, so that you have opportunities to learn, to innovate and imagine, and to help accelerate your career. And then once you sort of join the organization, you rise through the ranks, that you're able to lead and really give back to the Pan-Asian business, professional, and student communities, as Jenny and Tariq do. In terms of the attendee demographics, we are a life cycle organization. That means that we have attendees who are students, early career professionals, mid-level to senior level managers, as well as executives, who are all there for an experience that Ascend offers to help, to help each other, to learn from each other, and to give back to the community. At a high level, sort of this is an overview, and what is Ascend is truly known for, and we pride ourselves is our world-class dynamic programming. as you start to explore and start receiving communications about the convention, you will see that all of the programming that we design, whether it's for students or professionals, that programming is really curated based on the feedback that we receive each year from our attendees in terms of what was a success, what would they like to see more of, and so forth. We're also, we've been talking about numerous networking opportunities that the Ascend platform offers. And more importantly for the job seekers, we do have a career fair where you'll have a chance to meet with recruiters. More on that in just a moment. One thing we do want to share is that some of our programming also offers the opportunity to get continuing professional education CPE credits. And that programming is really takes place on Sunday, August 25th and Monday, August 26th. So when you get to see what the programming lineup is by visiting our website, you'll be able to see which sessions are CPE credit eligible. And this is important for our professional audience. Last but not least, in this overview, like any other event, we have a very user-friendly mobile app where you can build your own convention schedule so you never miss an important session. You can keep abreast of all the latest developments in terms of what is happening, any raffles we might be running, all the great speakers you should be listening to, the sessions you should be attending through push notifications. And it's also an opportunity for you to connect with other attendees who are open to that connection. So all in all, it's a powerful platform, the convention. And as we've been talking about, we have a dynamic list of speakers and programming. I won't go through too many details here, and we're happy to share the deck with you post-convention, but our speakers really consist of subject matter experts, thought leaders, sought-after CEOs, corporate community and government leaders, as well as media personalities. And I do want to share that one of our marquee speakers this year is the former PepsiCo CEO, Dr. Indra Nooyi, who herself has an amazing success stories to share. And now that she has retired from PepsiCo, she wants to give back more to the community. So she will be at the convention sharing her story. She will be talking about people who have helped her along the way. And we believe that this will be quite an inspirational talk from Dr. Nooyi. Last but not least, this is very important. On Saturday, August 24th, we have our career fair. And these are some sample exhibitors. You can see the logos on the screen. It's really a diverse portfolio of all of the industries who will be represented, and more to come in coming weeks. But these employers are there to speak with, connect with, and hire diverse talent like yourself. As Jenny mentioned before, we do expect some of the employers to schedule on-site interviews with the qualified candidates. So please make sure that you do your due diligence of researching employers that you plan to approach so that you're prepared. And to Tariq's point earlier, post-convention, post-career fair, it's always good to send a follow-up note to the people you have met with and have collected their business cards. Last but not least, the day of the career fair, we also have resume coaching sessions taking place, where it's a wonderful opportunity for job seekers to connect in real time with resume coaches and experts to get real-time feedback and input on their resumes. I know that's a lot of information coming your way, but we only had 1 hour dedicated for this webinar, so we wanted to make sure that we share all of these wonderful opportunities with you. I'll pause there for a moment. Tariq, Jenny, do you have any more to add to this?
The only thing I would say that how often do you get an opportunity to connect with 15, 20 desirable companies, and not only to connect with them, but actually shake hands, exchange business cards. So this is a great opportunity. The 2 or 3 days of programming, the content, everything is a great opportunity. And to do all this in 1 or 2 days, I think you'll walk away with a very valuable trip where you could say that you have just opened up great relationship with many desirable people. That's it from me.
Yeah, I wanted to add is be prepared, dress to impress, and also, bring copies of your resume. Whoever you talk to at the booth, they are taking notes. And, the first impression is very important. And I can tell you, Internally we do, whoever, has a direct contact with the potential candidates, we all take notes, like I said earlier. And, some are very desirable. We will reach out right away and we will say we would like to schedule an on-site interview with you. So, be prepared and join us. This is a great opportunity for you to meet the potential employer. Back to you, Robina.
Thanks, Jenny. And if I wanted to just add one closing thought on that, every single year we get this wonderful feedback from our partners saying that Ascend candidates, especially students, are some of the most well-prepared candidates that they meet, and we take great pride in that, because I think that preparation is really through some of these conversations that we have pre-convention, and also our student chapters who are very engaged, and they understand that when they bring a delegation of students to the convention, what to do and how to prepare for that experience. So we're really glad to be able to offer all of you these opportunities to connect with employers. With that, we've come to the next section of this webinar, which is sort of an overview of all the different Ascend scholarships that are presented at the convention, and Marie-Hélène will walk you through those details.
Thank you very much, Robina. And the National Scholarships Program, we saw it earlier in the video. It's actually funded through the Ascend Foundation. And as we pointed out earlier on, Ascend being a life cycle organization, the scholarships program means a lot in that regard. The goal is to really have that opportunity to recognize our students at Ascend, and not only for students' academic achievements, it's also to recognize the contributions that students are making in the community at large and towards the Pan-Asian community. So we're very excited this year. We have 5 partners who are part of this program. So we've got the AICPA, EY, PwC, Robert Half, and RSM. And scholarships vary between $1,000 and $5,000 each. There are some really unique features with the scholarships that we have at Ascend. One thing that I think is really important for you to know is when you get a scholarship as part of the scholarships program, the money goes directly towards the scholar and not towards the university where he or she is enrolled. And I think that's really important to know, because it's part of also the interviewing process. When we ask students, when we interview, what are you planning to do with the funds? Should you be a scholarship winner this year? Sometimes it's really to support financially their tuition, and sometimes it's really to support some incredible project that they have in mind, or an initiative that they want to put in place within the community. So both of these things are really important for us to know as we are going through the interviewing, and it's really good to know this, this unique feature, if you will. The other unique feature is that scholarship winners are invited to the convention and also receive the award at the scholarship luncheon, where all the partners are present. You can check on the convention website scholarships page the specific criteria for each scholarship. The one common denominator is that every scholarship applicant has to be a full-time enrolled undergraduate or graduate student. The last thing I wanted to just say is that the deadline is approaching. So it's June 30th. So please apply, spread the word, and we look forward to seeing you.
Great. Marie-Hélène, before we continue, I know you have a few testimonials that you wanted to share with the audience. I wanted to ask Jenny, as a chair of the scholarship committee, if she had any additional comments on the scholarships.
Yes, I do strongly recommend students on the phone today to apply. This is definitely a way for the scholarship sponsors to identify potential candidates. If they do have a copy of your resumes, and they do recognize your accomplishments, and very likely they will also interview the scholars of each scholarship sponsor. So strongly recommend that you apply for the scholarship. I'd love to see you on the stage and to be recognized.
Great, thanks for sharing. And Marie-Helene, the next slide is a testimonial from a 2018 scholar. So would you like to speak to that?
Absolutely. So I'm not going to read it verbatim. You all see the slide here. The thing that really pops out here is really the idea of the networking opportunities that are presented when you are a scholarship winner in particular. Of course, we had a chance to gather all the testimonials from last year's scholar winners, and there's really those two main themes that pop out. It's not only the quality of the connections that you make at the convention, and we've talked about this numerous times here over this webinar. It's that opportunity on top of that as a scholarship winner to really engage at length with the different partners on the scholarships program. Just as an anecdote, one of last year's scholarship winners went to the career fair, and as soon as she said that she was a scholarship winner, she actually got a special sit down with one of those partners and got a tour of their office. So it really shows the connection that one can make and how one can stand out through this program. The other testimonial here, you talk about meeting new professionals and students. So it's really that opportunity to connect with people at a peer level, but also at a more seasoned level. And the one thing that I really love and that we've heard consistently from our testimonials is that we meet a lot of people at the convention. The one thing that really is outstanding is that we reconnect with people we knew from the past. And I think that's really unique and very special about the convention. Sometimes one can be a little bit intimidated being in such a large area and meeting so many new people, but knowing that you can actually see people that you've seen from before is actually quite unique. And really this concept of the big family has come many, many times from our testimonials. So yeah, I don't know what else to say. Back to you, Robina.
Thanks for sharing. And I also wanted to mention that at the convention as well, we make sure that we integrate student and early career professional testimonials into our programming so that you're able to see and hear from individuals who have been with the organization and have benefited through their experience. So you could definitely look forward to these testimonials live at the convention as well. This brings us to our third polling question. Now that you've heard about all the great things the convention has to offer, we wanted to take a moment to ask you now, are you planning to attend the convention? And if that's the case, please give us your response. You can say yes or you can say no. And if you say no, we would want to know why you're not planning to attend the convention so that we have your feedback to make a future convention more relatable for you. Okay, the results are 93% of you are planning to attend the convention. That is amazing. And the 7% are not planning to attend the convention. Tariq, do you have any comments on this?
No, thank you, Rabina. And this is a great response from our attendees. And I would encourage, and I do understand at times that you have a conflict with the calendar, but not only that you attend the conference, but bring a friend along, another student who could be a part of this, because this is a great opportunity and we are all looking forward to meeting all of you. So I encourage everyone to be a part of it and also bringing your friends.
Great, thanks for sharing. We have about, I believe, 10 to 15 minutes remaining in this webinar. So we've almost come to the conclusion of what we wanted to share with you. And now we want to present to you some of the volunteer opportunities that are available at the convention. Tariq, I know you're very keen on you yourself, and Jenny are volunteers, so we would love to hear some insights on volunteering and how important it is for the organization, as well as those who are volunteering and giving their time to the organization.
Yeah, I think being a volunteer, I came to understand this important part later in my life, but it is the most gratifying and most rewarding part of your life. both professionally and personally. And if you can start this at your age, I think you will position yourself as someone more desirable to people who are interested in you, and it'll provide you some networking opportunities that may not come to you otherwise. So I strongly recommend that if your resume is missing a nonprofit organization that you're a volunteer of, Ascend can be a great placeholder for that, and you will learn a great deal. And I encourage every person, including my kids, that they should be a part of giving back to the community. But while you're giving back to the community, you gain so much in learning and through relationship that it all makes it worth the time that you invest in that. Back to you, Rubina.
Thank you. Jenny, do you have any insights on this before we move on?
I think Tarek has summed it up well. This is the opportunity for you to build your resume. By volunteering, you are enhancing your leadership skills, your communication skills, your soft skills. So, strongly encourage you to get involved in Ascend.
Thank you both. I do want to mention what a benefit of volunteering is in addition to what Jenny and Tariq have shared. If you commit to volunteering at least for 2 shifts, you're able to get 50% refund on the registration fee. Our website has all of the details in terms of what the registration rates are for students and professionals, what the different level of passes and access include, as well as what the volunteer shifts look like. So please visit our website, ascendleadership.org. You can click on the convention tab and it will take you to the 2019 convention, and there you can find all of this information. In addition to sort of that monetary support that you get by committing to volunteering for 2 shifts, you also get a dedicated volunteer training session, which is great for anybody who is planning to go into supporting other nonprofits or event planning. You get that training from our broader convention planning team who work with you on a dedicated basis to make sure that you know what the expectations and roles are for the convention, as well as you get an Ascend branded t-shirt. So that's always good to have. We know that we're seeing a lot of questions come through, so we will get to those in just a moment. But before we get to the questions, we wanted to ask you one last polling question, which is, now that you've heard about what the convention has to offer, as well as what the volunteer opportunities are and what you might be able to get in return, we wanted to ask you if you're interested in volunteering at the convention. So please take a moment and let us know your response. This is pretty amazing. About 43% of you have said that you are interested in volunteering and would look forward to receiving more information. 9% of you have already registered, and about 48% are currently not exploring this option. So all of you, thank you for those who have registered, those who are interested, and even if you're not interested, please do explore and see if volunteering is something that might be of benefit to you. Tariq, Jenny, Marie-Helene, before we move to the end of the webinar, are there any closing thoughts you wanted to share?
No, I want to thank you, Rubina and Mary-Helen, for putting this together, and Jenny for the partnership. We are very excited. We are volunteers, Jenny and I, on the board. And the reason we do this because we want to make sure that someone who gave to us, we give it to our next generation. We are willing and able. If you come and meet us at the convention, we look forward to all of you. I encourage all of you to connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'm sure Jenny would not mind. So looking forward to seeing you.
Yes, likewise. I look forward to, please come up to me and say hello. So, let me know that you were one of the 30 participants that, today. I would love to meet you at DC. So look forward to it.
Great. And we do have a couple of questions here, team. So Tariq, specifically for you, the question came in around 12:30 p.m. Eastern. It says, hello, everyone. Thank you for organizing this webinar. I have a question about what Tariq mentioned earlier. In my experience, I got faster response by following up by LinkedIn message than by email. Some people didn't reply to my emails. So what should I do to follow up in the most convenient way so the people I've met? I appreciate your answer.
Yeah, and thank you, Rubina. I did read that question. So my experience is only my experience. I usually don't respond on the LinkedIn because I have close to 8,000 contacts on my LinkedIn. And every day I receive somewhere between 50 to 70 messages. Now, that may be different for you, but most of the people who are in corporate, I'm sure Jenny must get it, a lot of contacts. So I would say start with an email. And if you're not getting respond, you can always try LinkedIn as a supplement. But most people that I know who are in the professional lives, they get a lot of messages on their LinkedIn, and many of them are unsolicited, so we don't respond. But again, you can combine both of them to see if you can get a better response.
Thank you for sharing. I think that was really content-based question. Marie-Helene, are you seeing any other questions that we need to answer before we get to some of the questions around accommodation, agenda, as well as the career fair?
There was just a little bit more of a technical questions, Robina, about the Convene app.
Yeah.
Getting a view of the agenda and so forth. Maybe we can address that later.
Absolutely. So let me take a moment to just actually address Convene. The Convene app will be live about 2 to 3 weeks before the convention, so really early August. So currently, if you are on Convene, you may not see the Ascend Convention event there, but as soon as it's available and you have registered to attend the convention, you will be getting a notification from our team to let you know that the app is live. So hopefully that answers your question. In terms of do volunteers get accommodation? Unfortunately, at the moment, we're not able to offer accommodation, but what we found very helpful in the past from other volunteers who have shared this information is that they like to team up and share accommodations. So if you happen to know other students or maybe your people from your network who are planning to attend, they take the sort of responsibility of sharing the cost and the arrangement. So you may want to consider that. There's a question around the agenda and when it will be updated on the website. We could expect to update with a more detailed view of what to expect by early July. That is really sort of our timeline. But if you have any questions, if you have specific questions around the content, speakers, feel free to send the email to info@ascendleadership.org, and we will be happy to answer those questions for you.
Rubina, there's one question that came about scholarships, about where to find more scholarship information, such as the criteria that we highlighted earlier on. And it is on the Ascend Convention webpage, where there is a scholarships tab. And on that scholarships page, there are all the different partners with under that a link to click on the criteria. So someone asked that question.
Okay, great. And just a reminder that the applications will close on June 30th.
Correct.
Right. Jenny, Tariq, we have this wonderful comment here from an attendee who had to leave early. They want to thank the Ascend team for organizing this webinar. They apologize for having to leave early, but they definitely plan to spread the word about the event to other people. So that's good to see.
Awesome.
Any other questions that we can help answer? And those we were not able to get to today, we will respond over email. Marie-Helene, are you seeing any other questions?
Just keeping a look.
There is a question, actually, I just see it come through on Career Fair. We do have employers who want to speak with and recruit both MBA and non-MBA students as well. And that is really thanks to our growing presence at student campuses and chapters, where we have MBA students who are leading some of our chapters. So yes, you're more than welcome to attend and speak with the employers. And usually if you approach an employer and they don't necessarily have an opportunity available for you at the moment, then to the points that Jenny and Tariq raised before, please be sure to follow up with them, connect with them, and make sure you keep that line of communication open for any future opportunity that may become available. Okay, I think, yeah, go ahead, Jenny.
I was going to add that from PwC perspective, we do recruit MBA students. So, you know, I'm certain that other firms as well. So, you know, please join us.
A few more questions, Robina, around the volunteer training. When does that take place? And also about we can maybe answer that first, and then we can get on to the second.
Absolutely, and I want to do time check as well. We have about 2 minutes remaining. Quickly to answer that question, yes, there will be formal volunteer training for all volunteers, and the way it works and is arranged is that each volunteer who is dedicated to doing certain shifts has their own training session, or it could be a group training session, and this effort is really planned by and coordinated by our event planner. So when you commit to doing a shift, they will let you know when your training session will be. And it is a very comprehensive training session where there's a phone call that takes place, as well as on-site training, as well as there's a volunteer mixer coming up in Washington, D.C. on July 18th. More details to come, but this is an opportunity for confirmed volunteers to connect with each other, as well as it's an effort by the local chapter that's hosting the convention to get more volunteers. So we will be sharing more information with you regarding the volunteer mixer in coming days.
I think we can take 2 more questions before we hit the 1 o'clock mark here on Eastern time. Regarding the career fair, do the participants receive the list of companies before they attend the convention, Robina?
Yes, so if you go to our website, you will see the list of exhibitors who will be exhibiting at the career fair. As well as on our app, when it goes live, it will have listing and booth numbers of all the different employers who will be exhibiting at the career fair.
Right. And in terms of level of, you know, stages in terms of one's education program, you know, the audience that we're looking at in terms of the convention participants, I know it typically is university students, but can you elaborate a little bit on that?
For the career fair, and I welcome Jenny and Tariq's inputs here as well. For the career fair in particular, we do have undergraduate and graduate students. We do have a percentage of early career professionals who are looking for a career transition. So these are people who have 5 to 7 years of experience. So these are really the people who come to the career fair. Overall convention outside of the job fair is really open to there's programming for students, early career professionals, mid-level managers who have 10 plus years of experience, as well as dedicated programming for executives as well. Jenny, did you want to add to that?
Yes, I can certainly tell you each firm, they're sending a number of participants, and you know, one of the goals is to identify talent, and you know, whether it's at the career fair or just, you know, interactions during the convention, you can be potentially invited to, you know, back to their office for an interview. So absolutely, all levels, from students to senior executives.
Thank you for sharing. There are so many questions still coming through, but we apologize that we have to conclude the webinar. But as we mentioned, we will send you responses to these questions through a follow-up email. So thank you all for joining. I know, Tariq, there is a slide that we didn't get to quickly, but if you wanted to quickly kind of share call to action, that would be great before we wrap up.
No, because I talked about time management, and we should I promise. No, I just want to thank everybody, and I encourage everyone to be there, and I promise this would be one of the best investment of time and resources that you'll make this year.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, Tariq. Thank you, Marie-Helene. And thank you, everyone, for joining and being part of this webinar. We'll see you.
Thank you. See you soon in DC.
Bye.
Yes, you in DC. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.